Please welcome to the TEDxSonomaCounty stage, Mary Carouba.
My father died 3 weeks ago, and he would have loved this. He wouldn't have gotten it necessarily, but he would have loved it. He admired the things I did, even when he didn't get them. After he died, we went into his house, and I saw that a book I wrote was in a very prominent position of all his other books, and on closer inspection, I could tell it had never been opened, but it was there. It was there. And when I told him about this TED Talk and explained what an honor it was, he thought that was great. But the only question my very business-savvy father had was, well, why isn't that TED guy not paying you? Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. But I'm very grateful to my father and my mother for the wonderful cultural perspective that they gave me growing up, because my father was Arabic from the Middle East, and my mother's family was Irish Catholic from Ireland. Yeah, that was quite a household. The Irish Catholics could usually be found huddled around the kitchen table, poring over holy cards, and the Arabs were in the living room doing the seductive dance of the seven veils. It was lovely. But you know, at the time my father died, I had nothing but love for him. Nothing but love. And that's an extraordinary statement, if you know our story. For reasons far too complex to go into here, suffice to say that for half my life, because of my conflicted feelings, I thought resolution of that relationship would never be possible. And because of my idea worth sharing, the very many last years of his life were filled with nothing for both of us but love and admiration for one another. And so I'm going to share with you my idea worth sharing. I have to get to it because I only have 12 minutes, and the last thing I did in only 12 minutes was leave a long voicemail message. So, and I had to do it in 3 parts. Hi, Annie. My sister, my poor sister. So I'm going to get right to it. In order to share my idea, I want to tell you a story of 2 extremely different perspectives. And I want you to think first about a perspective that's held by a desperately unhappy heroin addict. She's on the street. She has no contact with her family or friends. She feels completely alone. And to her, the world is an extremely dark and dangerous place, filled with awful people. She has thoughts of suicide frequently, and those thoughts are usually followed by an irresistible urge to get more drugs to try to ameliorate those feelings, if even just for a moment. She knows that she's going to either end up dead of an overdose or in prison, and she doesn't really care. By the way, my timer's not on, so if I go over, your fault. Just saying. I'm just letting you know. And if you'd like to start the time from here, I'm good with that. 8 minutes. Wait, I gotta speed up. All right. So her perspective is deeply rooted in self-hate, a feeling that nothing good will ever happen for someone like her, and a furious kind of frustration. And now I want you to imagine a very different perspective. A woman who's fulfilling many of her lifelong dreams, doing the kind of work she loves to do to make a living, close with her family and friends. Her world seems like a very beautiful and loving place, even though she's not indifferent to all the suffering in it. She believes that people are essentially good, even when their actions aren't. And her perspective is deeply rooted in love, compassion, and the belief that she's worthy of the good things that come to her. Now, the thing that makes these 2 wildly divergent perspectives relevant to this talk is that they've both been held in the same lifetime by the same person, and that's me. And the world I lived in back then during those terrible years is completely unlike in every way, shape, and form the world I live in today. But the thing is, the world itself has not changed that much. I mean, other than like selfies, Uber, a tragic overuse of the word literally. Oh no, like they didn't have those shoes and I literally died. Just irritates me. But in terms of the human condition, this world is pretty much the same now as it was then. So what makes it so different? I had a simple shift in my thinking that led to a new perspective that created a new world. And that shift began the day that I stumbled into a place called Delancey Street Foundation, a successful long treatment program for people like me. And their guiding philosophy changed my life. Each one, teach one. Their constant and unrelenting refrain was, get yourself together so you can help someone else. And this was a radical challenge to someone as self-centered as I was. And I followed my 7 years working and living with them with a very long course of study that continues today of philosophy, psychology, spirituality. And all of those teachings, no matter how convoluted or complicated they got, and they did, I was always led back to this one simple principle that's found at the heart of each one of the world's great religions: compassion. And it seemed so simple. Oh my gosh, I thought I had landed on the answer. Treat others as you would want to be treated. All righty then, I'm going to do that. No. It was extremely difficult because of my old ways of thinking, my old ways of responding, my old ways of being triggered. Anything could throw me off. I believed everything that I was learning, but I could not translate those beliefs into right action. Anything could throw me off. A rude driver. One time, when I was like 10 years into making this change, I'm driving down the freeway. A driver did something really rude and aggressive to me, and I did not look upon him with love and compassion and forgiveness as my teachings advised. No, there was no namaste in my game, all right? None. I sped in front of him, and I drove like an insane person to get to the Golden Gate Bridge before he did. And then I told the toll booth operator, there's a guy back there. I gave a description of his car and him. He's driving really dangerously. I think he's drunk. I knew he wasn't. And he is purposely trying to hit other cars. I lied. And then I pulled on the other side of the bridge, and I just watched gleefully as every toll booth shut the lane, the traffic started backing up, and the police pulled him out of his car. And I just went happily on my way, giving no thought to the hundreds of commuters I just inconvenienced. I just went on my way, probably on my way to a meditation group. Probably. And what I started to realize was that I couldn't think my way into right action. I had to act my way into right thinking. And I began to act as if I was a compassionate person. And I would ask myself this one simple question in response to any given circumstance: what would a compassionate person do? And then I would do that. But it takes lots and lots of practice. I'm practicing still many, many years later. Like, one of the things I learned then was when I'm in self-pity or anxious or depressed, get up and do something, anything. Go help someone else. Go do something. But even just this morning, and we're talking 30 years into this now, this morning I was feeling anxious about this talk because it's so personal. So I was feeling anxious about it, and I knew that's my cue to get up and do something. But all I wanted to do was sit on the couch, feel anxious, and watch old episodes of Judge Judy, and that's what I did. That is exactly what I did. So it's constant practice, and I'm doing a project right now in a prison that gives me lots of opportunities to practice. Because every day I walk through those prison gates, I'm met with this unbelievable wall of anger and hostility and suspicion. And that's just the correctional officers, all right? And I just keep practicing, bringing my focus back to compassion and loving kindness, albeit extremely tough loving kindness, but loving kindness nonetheless. 5 years ago, I was suffering more deeply and in more pain than I've ever been. I was dying of liver failure. And I was fortunate enough to receive a liver transplant. And my life was saved by a 14-year-old boy who died in a car accident. And after the transplant, I could not come up with the thank you big enough for his parents. I couldn't come up with it. How do you thank someone who made the decision to donate their son's organs and save your life on the worst day of their life? I couldn't come up with it. Or the 100 friends and family members that did everything for me during that time. Cooking meals, walking my dog, cleaning the house, taking me to doctor's appointments. It was too big. So I made a decision to perform 100 acts of kindness as a way to express my gratitude. And performing those acts drove home to me the truth that a life lived only for oneself is not a life worth living. So what am I saying, Teddies? May I call you Teddies? I feel like I should, since you know so much about me now. What I'm saying is that one small act of kindness can lead to a shift in your thinking, that can lead to a new perspective, that can change your life. And if you do one act after another, those moments can string together. And if you do it, it can change your world. If I do it, it can change my world. And if we all do it, it can change the world. Thank you so much.